Hi. I'm Richard Gage, AIA, member of the American Institute of Architects and founder of Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth. I represent 1,900 architects and engineers who are demanding a real investigation of what happened on 9/11 at the World Trade Center. There are many theories that people have put forth, and I've been asked to comment on one of them, mainly the directed energy weapons theory. And this is a theory that relies mostly on a denial of our most basic evidence on the part of Dr. Judy Wood, who denies that there's thermite or nanothermite at the World Trade Center towers when there's plenty of evidence, which of course is documented very carefully in our latest DVD, 9/11 Explosive Evidence, Experts Speak Out. She denies that there's evidence of explosions going off, and there's hundreds of witnesses, many of which are in the same DVD. She denies that there's extremely hot temperatures and molten metal, which turns out to be molten iron, which is very well documented as well. So when somebody comes forth with their own theory, and which has very little evidence, by the way, if any, and denies the most basic evidence that is very well documented, forensic scientific evidence, I can only presume that what she's purveying is disinformation. I can't come to any other conclusion. Now, we have written a 4-page paper on this subject. It's on our website. If you go to ae911truth.org, you can search Judy Wood, and you will come up with our paper there about this. It's a frequently asked question. So one of the features that she cites as evidence for directed energy weapons is the dustification of steel, specifically citing the spire that remains after the initial collapse or destruction of the towers. Core columns still standing, and then they receive a shake from below, and the dust is knocked off of the steel, and then you can clearly see it descending. She calls that the dustification of steel. She also cites that most of the steel is missing. A good percentage of it is missing. It's not missing. It's ejected laterally with explosive force, clocked by physicists at 60 miles an hour laterally. These perimeter steel, structural steel sections, landing 600 feet away. So that this steel is not in its footprint. We agree about that. It is distributed in a 1,400 to 1,600, and a 1,200 to 1,400 foot diameter about each of the twin towers. So that's where all of the quote missing steel is. In addition, she cites a large mushroom cloud, as she describes it, above one of the towers. Well, there's a lot of thermite heat released. 4,500 degree molten iron is the byproduct of thermite. Molten iron droplets are found throughout the World Trade Center dust, found by official sources, USGS, in small microspheres of molten iron, which has this chemical signature of thermite. So this is found, and it is very well documented, and several tons of thermite and or nanothermite, for which there's evidence found throughout the World Trade Center dust in all the 4 samples collected by the international team of scientists led by Niels Harrit in Copenhagen. There's evidence of nanothermite, there's evidence of thermite. Thermite can create, especially in all this quantity, massive heat, which would rise. That's how mushroom clouds are created. Massive heat rising creates a sort sort of a shape up there, somewhat akin to a mushroom. That's accountable by the thermite incendiaries, which there's all this evidence for.
She gets into the cars too, like there were cars like down the street or something.
So if there was thousands of thermite cutter charges going off under these explosive conditions, the atomized byproduct of thermite, liquid molten iron, would be formed into small spheres, just like when you sneeze. It's an explosive force, liquid due to its surface tension, forming itself into spheres, almost as diameter of a human hair, which is what officials find in the dust. So these cooling, falling molten iron droplets could easily account for the so-called toasted cars. So that's one accountable mechanism for that phenomenon. Well, I don't know what Dr. Wood's motives are, but when a well-trained engineer like herself denies the most basic forensic evidence that exists for the World Trade Center, that NIST also denied, and that the so-called mini-nuke theorists also deny, I can only suggest that what they're purveying is disinformation. I don't know what their motives or their intentions are.